Hi, welcome to Fitzdog Radio. I'll be your ravishing host. Little grizzled today. Little gray looking. Wife's out of town for a week. And shit has fallen apart. Don't kid yourself. I've never been alone in the house like this. Kids are gone in college. Wife is away. And it's amazing your behavior in that situation because you're responsible to nobody. I've been eating a lot of pizza, ice cream, chocolate, whenever I want, midnight, smoking some pot, not going to lie to you. I have been going to the gym a lot. I've been working out a lot. Going to Gold's Gym, which is like the best people watching in all of Los Angeles. See, I belong to the original Gold's Gym in Venice, and everybody is bigger than me. The women are far bigger than me. And there's a fashion. There's a guy I might have talked about this, but there's this one guy, and he's an older dude. He's got to be 63. Silver hair. Balding, man bun, or no, like ponytail, and a sweatshirt that he wears every fucking day that says, Trump, fuck your feelings. And it hurts my feelings. It does hurt my feelings. It doesn't hurt them. It makes me feel something, if that's what he's going for. It makes me fantasize about punching him in the throat. Because if it just said Trump, I wouldn't care. But whatever. I think I've talked about this guy before. But I see him every time I go. He's one of those guys that goes to the gym and he works out, but he also hangs out. There's a lot of hanging. And I'm always shocked how many people talk to this guy. Everybody thinks Venice Beach is this liberal bastion, this bubble. And that a guy who had on a Trump sweatshirt would be an outcast. And instead, he is friends with everybody. I don't know. I saw him in Ralph's once outside in the parking lot, outside the supermarket. And he was walking along with his shopping cart. And I was thinking, I could run him over. I could run him over right now. This hateful, vitriolic, this person who just is out to put negative energy into the world. You know? And I'd feel the same way about somebody who had a fuck Trump sweatshirt on. It's just enough. Enough with this hatred. Enough with this, like, God. I want to move to Portugal. I think I might move to Portugal. I don't know. Going to the beach today. Oh, we got some good guests coming up. Bruce McCullough from Kids in the Hall. They've got a new series out on Netflix, or no, Amazon Prime. He'll be on next week. And then David Feldman, who a lot of you know and love, will be back. Ian Bagg will be on. A couple surprise guests. So it should be fun. Going to the beach today. And as soon as I finish this, I'm going to go home, pick up my buddy Matt Malloy. We're going to Venice Beach with a football, throw the football around, dive in the ocean, and then go to Hananos, which is this famous old bar in Venice. It's actually, I don't know if it's Venice or Marina del Rey, but it's got burgers that are pretty famous. Get some burgers, and it's all on him. It's on him. Why? Matt's flush with cash right now. He booked a pilot last year. I think he shot it in the fall with Hilary Swank. And it's about a newspaper in Alaska. I think the show is called Alaska. And, you know, Hilary Swank from Boys Don't Cry and millions of things. And so anyway, so he's been sitting on his ass for 9 months waiting to see what happens. And boom, picked up. It's going to series, ABC in the fall. So Matt is, he's a series regular. This is a big role for him. This is like, this is it. This is fucking retirement money. And so I'm so happy for him. Nobody deserves it more. He's just this guy. He was in a documentary called That Guy Who Was in That Thing, which is a documentary about actors like Matt, who has, I just checked, he's got 147 credits on IMDb. This guy has acted for 30 years. He has been in the game. Never had a big break. Never had the big series. He's been in huge movies. You know him. He's the guy that you know. Here's what he's been in. First, he was in this film called In the Company of Men, which was this indie film like back in the 90s that kind of put him on the map. But then always smaller roles, but like good chunky speaking roles. But he was in Alpha House. Been on Law and Order a billion times, Election, Armageddon, As Good as It Gets, 6 Feet Under. There's a show out now called Sex Lives of College Girls that he's in. He was in Perry Mason last year. He's in that show, that Amy Sedaris show. But he's the guy who, like, he came out with me on, I guess it was Saturday night. I had some shows, and he had just found out his good news. So he came out with me that night to the clubs, did a couple shows. And everybody recognizes him, but they think that he's a guy they know socially, that they've hung out with. He's bald guy, Irish looking. He just is a guy that everybody's like, hey, we hung out. Did I fuck you? And it was just so much fun telling people, no, he's an actor. And then they go, oh, yeah. He was, he's got the right amount of fame. Like in my book, this is where you want to be. You want to be in the middle. You don't want to be famous. And Matt has achieved that level of being able to practice his craft, be respected as hell by his peers, by casting directors, by producers, but not get bothered on the street and not have all the pressures of being famous, all the wondering if people want something from you because of what you can do for them, or just that mainlining people want to do off of you when you're famous. He doesn't get any of that. Nor do I. And it's pretty sweet. Fame is overrated. I think fame used to be better. It's not anymore. You get downtime. You get time where you're not working, where you play a lot of golf, and you go to the beach, and you fucking hang out with your loved ones. It's great. And this is like, he's down the line in his career. He's not going to do this forever. And he reminds me of Len Cariou, who was one of my dad's best friends, who's a guy that was a Broadway actor, won Tonys on Broadway. He was Sweeney. He was the original Sweeney Todd. And been in a million TV shows and movies. And again, probably has as many credits as Matt. And then getting towards retirement age, and boom, gets a role on Blue Bloods on CBS. They're in their 12th season. And I mean, the money you make on these network 1-hour dramas is crazy. And you're doing 22 episodes a year, and it's a fucking job. It's like, it's real work, but it's nice to have that big payoff at the end. And I'm hoping Matt's show stays on for a while. That would be nice. He's the most un-Hollywood guy you've ever met in your life. He's just, he's a Venice neighborhood guy, knows all his neighbors, friends with everybody. He's a dog guy. He's just got the biggest heart. Him and his wife, Cass, they adopt dogs. Sometimes dogs that are on their last legs, literally. Like, he had this dog. It was an Irish something. And you go to pet it, and it's just fucking warts and lumps and pussing fucking pustules. And this dog was missing almost all its teeth, but he would bite you anyway. And it was a nasty, horrible dog. And that's the condition it was in when they had rescued him. And then I came over the house one time. He lives right around the corner. He's been my neighbor for over 20 years. And he went to college with my wife. They went to SUNY Purchase together. And that's how I know him. And so I go over his house because he had my keys because he was moving my car for me while I was on the road. So I went over his house to get the keys. And I went over his house and I couldn't find the light switch. And it was nighttime. And I went to get my keys. He goes, yeah, they're on my dresser in my bedroom. So I take 3 steps into the house and I feel the soft slide of dog shit under my foot. I'm like, fuck. So I take my shoe off and I take 3 more steps in the dark. And now my sock goes into a hot, steaming pile of shit. So now I take my sock off and I'm walking barefoot and I step in another pile of shit. So now I'm walking, I got my keys, I'm cursing, I'm walking home, I got my shoe and my sock in my hand, I got shit on my barefoot, and this fucking dog. And they've had some beauties, they've had some nice ones too. But Matt, I don't know why I'm talking about Matt so much because he's staying at my house tonight. But he is a Renaissance man. He is a licensed blackjack dealer. He used to deal blackjack in Atlantic City. He's a licensed cab driver. He drove a cab in New York City. He is a licensed massage therapist because he did this is all as a struggling actor. This is all the shit that he used to do. He did massage. What the fuck else did he do? And he's just a fucking great golfer. He's like a 3 handicap. He was a 3 handicap at his peak. What else? Oh yeah, here's the other funny story I want to tell about him. He, by the way, fucking, they bring their dogs. His wife brings the dog to the children's hospital every Saturday, or like 2 or 3 days a week, every other week, to the children's hospital so the kids can pet the dog. And then he gives he's always like going to give platelets of blood. They're just fucking good people. It's sickening. But Matt is one of the cheapest human beings I've ever met. It could be from years of struggling as an actor. And so like when he uses his toothpaste tube and it gets down to the end, he rolls it and he presses it and he squeezes it until there's nothing left. And then he gets a razor blade and he slices the side of it to get the extra dab of toothpaste that's hiding in the neck of the tube. Yeah. And I'm at his house one day and we're playing ping pong. He's got a ping pong table. And this squirrel is up in the tree and there was like a nest. The squirrel had made a nest and the nest fell out of the tree onto the pool table. Or I don't know, maybe it was either a rat or a squirrel, but it was a nest in the tree and it fell on the table, and in the nest was a pair of underwear the squirrel had found because their laundry machine is outside, and he must have dropped a pair of underwear. The squirrel picked it up, put it in the nest, and Matt immediately takes it, fucking flips it, looks at it, throws it back in the laundry machine. It's going back into the cycle. It's back in rotation. It's got the squirrel underwear. All right, enough about him. Congratulations, Matt, wherever you are. The series is called Alaska. Hilary Swank. The director and writer, the guy who created it, is a guy, Tom McCarthy. He did The Station Agent, The Visitor, Spotlight. He won the Academy Award for Spotlight, and I think he was nominated for Best Director for that. So, they're in good hands. I mean, this is a pedigree show. This is a big, high-profile show for ABC. So, anyway, other big news. Norm Macdonald's got a new special. We talked about it on Sunday Papers, but he's going to have his last special put out posthumously. And it's amazing because, it's going to be on May 30th, and it's called Nothing Special. It's maybe the first time a comedian has put out a post-mortem special. And then the special also has interviews with Adam Sandler, Conan O'Brien, Dave Chappelle, David Letterman, David Spade, Molly Shannon. They're all going to talk about him, which some of those people I don't need to hear talk about him, but I guess mostly I do. I went to the memorial and Conan hosted it, and he was fucking amazing. He was so great. Spade was good. Molly Shannon was good. Sandler didn't get up and speak. I was surprised, but for some people it's hard. They don't want to do that. I understand that. I respect that. So, but his last special, Norm's last special before this one, was like 10 years ago, and it turns out he had cancer then. And listen to it again, because it's literally him talking about death in a very existential way for like 15 minutes. That's how the album opens. And like literally, he didn't tell anybody. I think Mary Jo, who was his like kind of producing partner, she knew, and I don't think anybody else knew. He kept it to himself. And I just think that is fucking crazy, because if I've got cancer, if I know I'm dying, are you shitting me? I would milk that to death. That would be my modus operandi for everything that happened in my life until it ended. Hey, can you grab me a beer? By the way, I would be drinking again. I would immediately start drinking. I would try to get my hands on some morphine. I would take everything. I might try heroin. Fuck it. Who cares? It's supposed to be great. Hey man, will you grab me a beer? I'd get up, but I'm dying. So could you grab me a beer? Because everybody always says when they find out you're sick, hey, let me know if there's anything I can do. Well, there is. I would take every asshole who said that to me up on it. Every single person who says that so like flippantly, hey, let me know if there's anything I can do. Yeah, sure. Could you shave me? I fucking hate shaving. It sucks. I lose track. You do it. Grocery shop for me. Fucking sex. I guess I would become a selfish lover. I'm sorry I came and then just fell asleep. I'll be dead soon. Borrow money from people. I guess once people know that you're dying, they may be a little hesitant to lend you money. But maybe borrow it from people that don't know I'm dying. I don't tell everybody I'm dying, just the people close to me. Just the people that'll be really sad about it. I've definitely stopped flossing. I would tell people how I really feel. And that's something you hear a lot with people that are dying. And I'm not talking about saying, I love you, you mean a lot to me. I'm talking about, hey, you're a fucking asshole. You've always been an asshole. I've always wanted to say something, but we have mutual friends and I didn't want to cause bad blood. Now I'll just tell you, because I'm dying, you're a fucking asshole and you should look into it. And you should not be an asshole. And let this be a wake-up call for you. And why would I lie? I'm dying. I'm telling you, everybody thinks you're an asshole. I would love to do that. How freeing would that be? And you're making the world a better place, because most assholes are incapable of change. But let's say 10% of them realize, wow, I didn't realize I was an asshole. I should go to therapy, or I should hold my tongue, or I should not go to parties and drink so much, or whatever it is. I'm making the world a better place. And I think that is the role of the terminally ill. To police a little bit. You know? I think I would start to do good things also. Like, you want to pad your obituary. You want to think, work backwards from the obituary. What do you want in there? You know what? Let me take the dog to the children's hospital. Or you know what? Or just like, because they never say in the obituary how long you did the charity work for. They just say he delivered food to old people. So I'll just sign up and do it. And I'm not even, I won't even bring the food to the old people. I'll get someone to bring it for me. Hey, could you drive this food to this old person? I'm going to be dead soon. And then it's in the obituary. I wish there was a war I could fight in. That always looks good in the obituary. War hero. I was in the Cold War, technically. I survived the Cold War. Lived through that shit. War on drugs. I might have been on the wrong side of that one, though. Yeah. What else? Just listen to my son's radio show. My son, I've mentioned it on the show before. He is the third generation of Fitzsimmons men to have radio shows. His is on the DePaul station. It's on 1 o'clock p.m. Pacific Coast time on Mondays. And just if you want to check it out, get the DePaul app. Just go to the App Store and look up Radio DePaul. And you can download it and you can listen. It's great. He plays really cool music. It's him and his roommate. And Rory, who's a very intelligent, thoughtful music file. They play jazz. They play hip-hop. They play funk. They played a Latino rap album today. It's great, and I miss the shit out of him, so it's nice every week to be able to sit down for an hour and listen to him talk with his friend. And they played some of the Kendrick Lamar album. They talked about it quite a bit. He turned me on to Kendrick Lamar years ago, and I'm not a huge rap guy, but I fucking love Kendrick Lamar. And this new album, I forget what it's called. I think Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, I think is the name of it. But it's an amazing album. He hasn't put in, I'm telling you things you probably already know, but he hasn't put out an album in like 5 years. And so, or as he says in the first track, it's been 1,855 days since he last released an album. So yeah, I guess that's about 5 years. And that he basically owns up to that he had writer's block. For 2 years, he couldn't write at all. And he went through a lot. He had some kids. He went to therapy. He dealt with some trauma from childhood. And there's like Eckhart Tolle quotes. He has like quotes of Eckhart Tolle speaking cut into some of the songs, which is kind of beautiful. It sounds like he took his therapy very seriously. A lot of the songs are about kind of the cycle of abuse and how you can view yourself as a victim of abuse, and it starts to become your identity, and how he worked his way out of that. He talks about how he asked God to lift this writer's block, and that he asked God to speak through him, and he fucking does. God speaks through him on this album. It's just amazing. It's like, it's one of those albums you listen to and you just filled with gratitude that somebody with this genius has taken this time and the courage to go through what he's gone through in his life in the last 5 years, and that he's distilled it into these incredible words and the music, the instrumentation, the sampling, the experimentation. It's just, it all comes together. It's a double album. It's like 90 minutes long, and it's all good. Like, you have to put it on a good speaker or speakers, if you're from the 80s, and just sit. Make a drink, smoke a joint, whatever you do, and just sit and listen to it. There's a song called My Auntie is a Man, which is about his aunt becoming a trans person. I'll leave it at that because I'm going to say the wrong word, it's a very woke album without being obnoxious. It's very brave in the sense that hip hop deals with certain topics in certain ways, and he goes against a lot of those things. He talks about, making fun of the materialism of it. He talks about religion, infidelity, Talks about cancel culture a lot. Anyway, what else can you say? You know him. You love him. He played the Super Bowl. I think he won a Pulitzer Prize or something. One of those big prizes. Was it a Pulitzer Prize or was it a? I can't remember. Anyway, so wife is away. I've been home alone. The dog's got fleas, which I don't know if you have dogs, but when they get fleas, you feel dirty. You feel like a bad owner because they're just sitting on the ground, fucking scratching themselves relentlessly. I can't sleep at night because my dog is just pounding the ground, scratching. And so the next day I went and I bought, Jesus Christ, I got these. Oh, somebody's calling me. Who's calling me from New York? Let's put them on the podcast, shall we? Hello.
Hey, Greg, it's Christine Hodge calling.
Hey, Christine, how are you?
I'm all right. Do you have 2 minutes? I just wanted to tell you what I knew about getting paid.
Oh, let me call you right back. I'm just about to do a podcast. I'll call you in like an hour.
Okay, I'll be in a meeting, but just text me when you're available, and I'll text you back.
Sounds great.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
We did a movie together, and we didn't get paid. And now the actors are getting concerned. Independent films. Oh, yeah. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh, yeah, so they got the fleas, and I go to get the flea medication, and the good medication is are pills, and they basically go into the dog's body and into the dog's fat, and then the fleas bite them, and they die, and they start to give off a scent, I believe, that repels the fleas. So anyway, $150 each for a 6-pack of these pills. So once again, I'm spending fucking hundreds of dollars on these dogs that will not die, that have overstayed their welcome, that don't understand that 16 is too long. We had a nice time. You were cute. You were fun. Look, I'm kidding. I still love them. I still cuddle with them. I treat them like gods. They get 3 long walks a day, 2 meals a day. They get They get tons of treats all day and rubs. But I'm done. I'm done with going away on vacation and having to rent a dog sitter for $100 a day. We go away for 10 days. That's $1,000. And then you go in and the last time we went in, he needed teeth pulled. So they had to put him under. That was $1,300. I added it up. I was curious how much it cost to own a dog. So I did a spreadsheet and I put in food, treats, medicine. They're both on medicine. She gets eye drops and pills. He gets pills. He takes Prozac because he bites people and he trembles. Ruined furniture, wee pads. What else? I forget what else, but $30,000 a dog. That's what it costs to own a dog for the life of the dog. Then you think about some guy, fucking Bojack that lives in Tennessee. He's got a hound dog. That motherfucker doesn't even come in the house. He doesn't even get fed. Maybe you throw him a bone. He makes his own way. And he dies. You don't even know when he dies. He just stops coming around. That's the kind of dog I need. I need a country dog. But you can't have that in the city. So you treat them like they're children. They're just fucking so time consuming. Anyway, so I fucking shampooed. I bought special flea shampoo. I bought a flea spray. I sprayed down all the furniture, sprayed down all the curtains, vacuumed the house twice. Took all the doggy beds and their blankets, put them in the washing machine. Had to do fucking 3 loads of laundry. And it's ridiculous. So that's been my life since my wife. I thought I was going to be sitting around watching fucking Pink Floyd The Wall, taking mushrooms, and instead I'm giving flea baths. So Anyway, what else have I done? Yeah, I've gone out. I've hung out at the clubs. Usually I do my spots and I come straight home because I'd rather be with my wife than in a comedy club. But she's not around, so I hang out at the clubs. Hung out with some good comics, Fahim Anwar, bunch of guys that I like. And at the Comedy Store. Erin is in New York because her Aunt Jo, who's 95, crazy Aunt Jo in the Bronx, she lives in the house she was born in. Literally was physically born in this house. She's in like the Parkchester area of the Bronx. And she was born in this house, which is one neighborhood over from where my mother's from and where I was born, where I lived the first part of my life. And my mother and Aunt Jo went to the same high school in the Bronx. So did my wife's mom, St. Helena's. And she's never lived anywhere else. She was a nurse, never got married. It was very, very Irish Catholic. When you're Irish, the oldest daughter stays home with the parents as their caretakers. As it is in a lot of country where there's no like Social Security and people don't have pension funds stocked away, you have a child stay behind and look after the folks. So she's lived there all these years, and she's like an oral history of, maybe she's Pelham Parkway. I can't remember what neighborhood she's in, but she's an oral history of her neighborhood in the Bronx and how it was all Italian and Irish, and now it's a lot of Dominican. And she's not racist, but she's racial. She knows what race everybody is, and that's how they get described. Oh, yeah, the Haitian guy helped me with the engine, and oh, yeah, the Dominican guy came by and he trimmed the hedges. And, yeah, I'm going... It's just so funny because it's not meant in any way, but it's how she identifies. And she's got her little backyard. She's got some tomato plants back there. She's got a peach tree. And that's how she spends all her time in the spring, summer, and fall. She's out in the backyard. Granted, the backyard is the size of my office. It's tiny, but it's what keeps her going. It's all she retired. She's for 30 years. She's lived alone in this house with no job, basically taking care of the garden. I don't know how. She never eats out in the neighborhood. Like, there's restaurants that are a block from her she's never been to. Like restaurants that have been there for 50 years that she's never been to. She cooks her own food. She's got like, her basement is fascinating because it's like a museum. Their brother fought in the Korean War. Korean War? Must have been the Korean War. And there's like all this old army equipment down there. I think he was a pilot, because it's got one of those, like, it's got a gas mask. It's got all this old army fatigues and knives and stuff. And then I've got storage down there. Me and Erin have like a couple of trunks of stuff. And then one of which was I had gotten paid by a comedian years ago. Well, he didn't pay me with cash. I drove this comedian to a gig. I was just starting out in comedy. So this is going back 30 years. And so 30 years ago, this guy gave me baseball cards to pay instead of gas money. He gave me sheets of laminated baseball cards. And so I was like, oh, fucking great, baseball cards. So I stick them in this trunk. They sit there for 30 years. And then I looked at them. I took them out a year or two ago. And I look at them, and two of the sheets, so like 20 cards, are Mark McGwire rookie cards. Mark McGwire, like, home run champion. So I'm like, holy fucking shit, this is real money. So I go to a hobby shop. It's a baseball card shop. And I go, hey, man, look what I got. What do you give me for these? And he goes, well, if you'd brought that in before his doping scandal, I would have given you about $150 each. He goes, now, 25 cents. So those are still in there. I should check and see what they're worth now. Maybe they've gone back up again. So, yeah, so she's sick. She had some lung problems and she's very weak. She broke her arm a couple years ago and she hasn't really recovered. It's what happens at that age. You break something and you sit in a hospital bed for 10 days and then you're fucked. So she doesn't weigh very much. And so Aaron flew in to spend a week with her, try to help her out. And she's coming back tomorrow night. Yeah. So can't wait. Anyway, this podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp. Life, folks, we know this. It can be overwhelming. You get burnt out. Sometimes you don't even realize it. Symptoms of burnout include lack of motivation, feeling helpless or trapped, detachment, fatigue. So I get burnt out. I went through a period where I was writing on a TV show. I was writing on Wanda Sykes' TV show. And I was doing my podcast every week. And I was on the road on the weekends. And I was trying to write a book. And I almost had a nervous breakdown, or maybe I did. I don't even know. And I reached out and I got some help and I fucking needed it. I was not functioning. And you have to check in on your feelings sometimes and take stock of where you're at your life and realize that you're worth doing something about it if you're not feeling 100%. Sometimes you think that burnout is just because of work, but it's also, maybe you've got young kids or there's any ways, there's a lot of stressors in your life. So when I went to BetterHelp during the pandemic because I was feeling pretty overwhelmed, and I talked to somebody there. I'm still talking to them. It's been a couple years. I had a great experience. First therapist I talked to, fell in love with, not literally, but fell in love with. And I've gotten a lot out of it. We do cognitive behavioral therapy, which I highly recommend for most people. I think it's a really fast-acting way of doing therapy. So do that. BetterHelp is customized online therapy that offers video, phone, and even live chat sessions with your therapist. You don't have to see anyone on camera if you don't want to. It's way more affordable than in-person therapy. You get matched with a therapist in under 48 hours. Fitzdog Radio listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/Fitzdog. That's betterhelp.com/Fitzdog. Also today, let's talk about CBD. Everyone's talking about it, but not all CBD is created equal. Most people know that it's a great way to help with pain, inflammation, sleep, without the high associated with its cousin THC. What you may not realize is that most CBD products on the market are overpromising and under-delivering with inaccurate labels and lackluster results. Certified Brands Group was founded by scientists that were sick and tired of all the BS CBD products. That's why they decided to create their own brand of products that actually work. Zen Relief and Recovery. If you have trouble sleeping, try their Trinity of Sleep tincture. It combines CBD with CBG. I've used this. It's amazing. And CBN for the best night's sleep you've had in ages. Unlike other products on the market, contains 0 THC. Certified Brands products are triple tested to ensure purity. What's on the box is what's in the bottle, and it just works. I have a special offer only for Fitzdog listeners. Go to www.tryzen.com and use code FITZ for $25 off your order. That's www.tryxen. So it's Tryzen, but it's xen.com. Use promo code FITZ at checkout for $25 off your order. They sent me a package. It's the best CBD I've been exposed to. The sleep stuff especially is amazing. So anyway, check that out. Let's do some voicemails. Not voicemails, emails. Starting with a couple of overheards. Jim O'Brien. Hold on. See this Fitzdog Radio mug? You can't get it. Sold out. Got some I think we got some Sunday Papers t-shirts left. And there are Grapefruit Simmons t-shirts left if you go to fitzdog.com. That coffee tastes good. Jim O'Brien in a bar in Venice, California. I hear this guy talking to another guy, and he says, quote, "This girl I was seeing got mad at me because I moved in with my girlfriend." I got a friend who's actually going through that with this guy that she's dating. She started dating him. He was newly divorced, and then the wife got sick. I don't know if it's cancer. And so the guy felt like he had to move back in because it's still his soulmate, even though they're not together. And she's still trying to see him through that. She's pulling a Norm Macdonald. That's what you can do. It's weird because you want to have boundaries in relationships, but you also want to understand that all relationships are different, and that some people, Erin's mom and her kind of boyfriend live in apartment buildings next door to each other, and they have dinner 7 nights a week at restaurants, and that's their relationship. There are people that openly cheat, and it works for them. Who knows? I mean, sometimes they get up and they smack people in the face at the Oscars, but it works for them. So who knows? Earl Elliott in Baltimore, Maryland. 2 super street dudes. What does that mean, super street dudes? Can you just say black? At Lexington Market, waiting for my steak and cheese sub. Dude number 1, I'm tired of being locked up. I've been locked up more than D, M, and X. All them blanks. Dude number 2, yo, you need to get out more, yo. Yo, you need to get out more, yo. That's not something you hear a lot in prison. You got to get out more. You know, you should really get out in nature. Spend some time in nature. Clear your head. It's like that, maybe that's why that guy escaped. Did you follow that story about the guy that escaped? And the female prison guard helped him. Anybody else cheer for them? Who was not cheering for them? We wanted to, it was like a movie. I mean, if somebody has bought the rights to this movie, I don't even know how that works. How do you buy rights? Who gets paid? Somebody's getting paid to allow somebody else to write this story. I think maybe the guy who's in jail, because the woman killed herself when they got caught. She had sold her house, cashed out her bank account, and was picking this guy up. This guy was a charming motherfucker, and they were making a run for it. I don't know where they were headed because they weren't headed south towards Mexico, which was where you think they'd be going. They were going north. It was weird. But I was cheering for him. He's going to make a great fucking movie. I'll tell you that. Guy named Luke Smithard said, I have to correct you regarding your comment on this week's show about British women having untrimmed pussy hair and bad teeth. That's a terrible stereotype. They don't have bad teeth. Well, let me tell you something, Luke. I think we have some oil paintings of the royal family that contradict you. But as far as the other one, I was when I was in Europe, when I was graduated high school, I went to Europe for 6 months and I backpacked around. And when I was in London for like a month, stayed with a friend of mine. And I slept with this nurse, and she was like, she lived in this rooming house. It was very like 1900s. It was like a rooming house for women. And she was a nurse, and we had good sex, and I thought everything was great. And then I would like send her postcards. I went to Ireland from London, and I spent like a couple months in Ireland, and I was writing her postcards, and I think I even called her a couple times, from a payphone with coins. And she kind of ghosted me before there was cell phones. I wasn't sure if she was not getting my messages. So anyway, then I go to her rooming house. I get back to London after Ireland, and I go to her rooming house, and I just show up. I'm 18. I'm, sex crazed, but I'm kind of in love. And I go to her, but You want to talk about pussy hair? A lot of pussy hair. So I knock on. I go to her rooming house and I go up to her room, and the door has a note on it, and it said, "Timothy, in the shower, let yourself in and make a drink. Heart." And I was like, "Fuck, Timothy." And she was going to be in that shower for a long time, just shampooing all that pussy hair, putting some detangler in there, some conditioner to keep it tame. This guy Clayton Higdon took umbrage with somebody told me about the suitcase carry, where you pick up a weight and you carry it around, and it's good for your core strength. And so I tried it and I liked it. And he said, "Hey, call the suitcase carry. It's called the farmer's carry, like they have always been called. Carrying shit was not invented by a fucking airline traveler." Okay, sorry, Clayton Higdon. Jesus Christ, what are you, a farmer? Hey, stop calling it yoga. It's called fucking a horse. Down dog to up dog, down dog to up dog. It's called fucking a horse, man. That's what it is on the farm. Stop saying jerking off. It's not jerking off. You're milking the cow. That's what you call it on the farm. You're milking the cow. Then we got, let's see. A. Mercer said, "Greg, did you ever buy that Mustang you wanted 13 years ago? Spoil yourself, Grapefruit Simmons." You know, I never did. I wanted to wait until I was old enough for it to look ridiculous for me to be driving around in a sports car. And I think I might have hit that age, so maybe I should do it. I'm wondering if, like, the wanting of it is going to be sweeter than the actual owning of it. You know? I don't know what's stopping me. I've got a Prius. I love it, and I hate it. It's totally functional. It saves on gas. It's actually nice to drive, for the most part. It's a little loud. Like, there's no engine sound, but, like, the cabin is a little rickety. I don't know. I could get a fortune for it right now. Everybody wants used Priuses. ALX official said, he posted this on my Instagram. Dude's 100 years old and he still calls himself Fitzdog. Yeah, I do. That's right. Me, Dice Man, Vanilla Ice. We're sticking with our fucking names right into our old age. Just gets funnier and funnier. All right, so let's... is there any other ones I want to do? No, that's it. Okay. Dates coming up: Tacoma, Washington, the Tacoma Comedy Club, May 19th through the 21st. Irvine Improv, May 27th through 29. Bakersfield, California, at a place called The Well on June 11th. If you want tickets to those shows, go to Fitzdog.com. Very excited about Tacoma this weekend. Come out and say hi. And don't forget also the premium membership is always available to you at Fitzdog.com. Get 950 back episodes for like $19 a year. That's unbelievable. Get involved, people. All right. Thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed the solo podcast. Guests coming back next week. And I love you guys. Take care.